explore, survive, escape as a resourceful ferret on a deadly island where robots patrol and time runs out. This 3D perspective isometric stealth game blends infiltration, scavenging, aiding survivors, and racing against the clock in a war that was never yours. Welcome to episode 58 of the 5 T's of Stealth, where we will be discussing Not My War. Once again, the 5 T's include tasks, terrain, tools, threats, and tension. These are what I consider to be the fundamentals of stealth gaming. Your objective in this game is simple. You must repair a boat to escape an island. In order to repair said boat, you must explore the island to retrieve 3 components: the crankshaft, electric coil, and diesel pump. Once all 3 are collected, the boat is repaired and you can leave the island, which completes the game. This is much easier said than done, however, as the island is inhabited by murderous robots, which leads us into this game's story. This isn't anything crazy, as it all falls back on human greed. Humans created these robots, and the robots eventually went rogue and started killing anything and everything. Once you crash onto the island, you will come across some survivors. You and the other survivors are all ferrets. Another part of this game is rescuing the ferrets, which is actually just finding them around the map and talking to them. They will then magically appear at the home base. Once at the home base, you can talk to these ferrets. I did not rescue them all or talk to them all, quite frankly, but the ones I did talk to offered a side quest. This basically entails gathering components for them, and then they give you some equipment. Afterwards, you can talk to them again and they'll give you some lore. I mentioned most of it earlier, but again, humans made robots and robots went bad. However, what I have not mentioned is that every ferret you talk to will identify itself as an experiment. I can't really say what these experiments were, and this is where I get a little lost, but I must admit I did not make a strong effort to learn. This game also features a day and night cycle, which helps you keep track of time since this whole experience is on a timer. The Tempest protocol is going to activate after a certain amount of time, so you have to fix the boat and leave before that time, or everyone will die. As mentioned earlier, this entire game is set on an island. Most of this island feels very much the same to explore, and there are only a few mechanics at play. There are 2 types of locked doors. The first isn't actually locked, I guess, but requires you to open it from the other side. The second requires a transmitter to open. You will gain a transmitter very early on, however, it must be upgraded to unlock areas with a higher security clearance. These upgrades will be scattered around the map, as will many other bits and pieces. This game feels pretty linear in its structure, at least within each area. You really don't have a lot of options as you simply follow the path you were given, although there might be 2 or 3 ways to enter an area. There are several areas, and I don't believe you have to explore them in a specific order unless they have a higher security clearance. In terms of actual mechanics, there's tall grass that makes you invisible and burrows that you can hide in. I should also mention that you will find skeletons all over the map, really driving home the amount of death and destruction. Starting with the basics, you've got a sprint and a crouch. Crouching makes no noise and is essential around certain robots. This game features an inventory system, which requires you to rearrange items of different shapes and sizes in your bag. Most items are pretty easy to arrange except for the 3 boat pieces, as they are massive and basically require an almost empty inventory. Somehow I missed this and it made my experience much more difficult, but there is a map. I don't know how I did not know, but I did not and beat the game without it. Obviously, a map doesn't drastically alter the experience, but there were many times I was walking in circles trying to find the next area and a map would have eliminated that. The last small addition is being able to pet crows. However, it doesn't really seem to work. Now let's talk gadgets, as you have 3 available to you. The first is a flashlight, which obviously provides light. However, the real use is to briefly stun robots at the cost of a battery. Batteries can be found all over the map, but take up inventory space. The same can be said for all 3 gadgets, which take up the same amount of space. The next gadget is a glass bottle, which can be thrown to bait enemies. Lastly, the smoke bomb, which of course blocks line of sight. There are several different robots that will hunt you down throughout the game. The first thing you encounter is a camera, which will simply lock doors if it spots you. There also seem to be noise detectors, which fulfill the same purpose. Early on, you are told that not every surface can hide your footsteps, but I never noticed this in practice. With that out of the way, let's actually discuss the robots I keep mentioning. For starters, there are the soldier robots. These robots have a vision cone and will chase you down if they spot you. Next are the spider robots, which are blind but react to sound. If they hear you, then you're probably done for. Next is the Phantom, which is a small plane. This thing is constantly tweaking and moving erratically. It also has a vision cone. Last but not least, turrets. Turrets also have a vision cone but are completely stationary. Detection overall felt very inconsistent throughout the game. There were many times that I felt like I could just run through an area since the enemies would lock onto me for a second, then move on. Oh, and I almost forgot. At nighttime, robot patrol routes will change, which is a cool little addition. Not My War is not a difficult stealth game. The actual stealth mechanics are very simple and the enemy detection is a little janky. While the actual enemy variety is solid, the tools at your disposal are pretty strong and make it pretty easy to escape. If you carry around enough batteries, you can just stun away, unless the robot is blind. The spider robots definitely add the most tension since they require you to move very slowly in order to avoid their detection. I will say, however, when things start going bad in this game, they go bad in a hurry. In other words, if you're doing well, all it takes is one little mistake and you're probably going to be swarmed and overwhelmed. I do want to mention that there were several enemies that were just broken. I mean literally broken. After a death or restart, I would find the occasional robot just completely frozen and it wouldn't react to anything. I was even able to just walk right through them. I mentioned earlier that I didn't realize there was a map available in this game. This fixes one of my big complaints since I kept getting stuck and didn't know where to go. I say big complaint, but realistically this was a minor issue as I just had to wander a little more. I'm going to assume it's my fault that I didn't know and that I missed a pop-up or something, since the game was great about introducing everything else. So, since I screwed up, I can't complain about a problem caused by my own ignorance. Just make sure you use the map. Not My War is a very simple free-to-play stealth game that introduces some interesting ideas and a unique setting. While it is most certainly worth playing, it won't do anything crazy to blow you away.